Welcome to the United Empire Loyalist Ancestors virtual meeting. And this is hosted by the International Institute of Genealogical Studies at genealogicalstudies.com. And I'm Cheryl Levy. And we are tonight in the virtual meeting covering the United Empire Loyalists. And this virtual meeting will run every third month. So, of the 3 courses that we have in our, colonial series, we have for the Mayflower, the US colonial New England ancestors, and the United Empire Loyalists. They alternate, and so it's every 3 months to come, to one of these virtual meetings, covering our ancestors in that, period of time, uh, up to the end of the American Revolution. Okay, and as I said, this was the United Empire Loyalist Ancestors virtual meeting, and it is goes along with the course that is offered through the Institute on researching your UEL ancestors. And so if you go and search for this course on our website, you'll have a description of what is in the course, and it is a 7-week course. And these are the modules. And so it's going to cover the background, what is a loyalist, who qualifies to be a loyalist, and the loyalists were loyal to the crown is the easiest way to think about them. But they were, you had to be a resident in colonial America, the colonies, before the outbreak of the war. So they had to be a resident before that. And then it's April 1775 when things started. So they had to be a resident before that. They remained loyal to the crown and they gave some kind of service to the British during the American Revolution. And then at the end, when the British were defeated, they were evacuated out and many came to Canada, not all. Some went to the Caribbean, some went to England, and, but when they came, then they, were entitled to claim land for their losses. And then the declaration, um, by Carleton was that them and all of their descendants would be classified as United Empire Loyalists for their loyalty during the American Revolution. And this included some of the Six Nations, First Natives, what are the in the states, so Mohawks, different tribes, but mostly Mohawks that came here to Ontario, and so it split the Six Nations as well, and so they are counted as loyalists. And actually, where I live, the reserve right next to us. Our city was founded by a loyalist, and the reservation right next to it was Mohawk loyalists at Tydenega. Okay, and so the second module in the course covers how to apply to the United Empire Loyalists Association of Canada, which is a lineage society. We're going to look at that webpage today and how you can get a certificate if you prove your lineage back to one of the loyalists. Then the third module is on sources, where to look, uh, migrating, where they settled, where the loyalist settlements were, land grants, petitions, lots of records, wills, church records. And then the last 3 are going to break into regions. And so module 4 is the maritime region, which is Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island. I would probably add Cape Breton in there since Cape Breton was separate from Nova Scotia at that time. And actually, New Brunswick was formed out of Nova Scotia when the Loyalists and this heavy, heavy Loyalist settlement at the beginning of New Brunswick. Module 5 is Quebec and the Gaspé area and who went there and the settlements. And then Module 6 is Ontario. And Ontario used to be Upper Canada and Quebec used to be Lower Canada. So if you're wondering, that was name changes. So if you're looking for Upper Canada, yes, that was Ontario, where they went, and the Upper Canada land petitions, and the Lower Canada on Library and Archives Canada. And so it's important to not only find out who your loyalist was and what they did, but also where they settled, to know where to find records for them that then possibly can give you clues back to the colonies and to find out where they came from. Okay, so tonight I'm going to look at um, this, um, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go to this website and it is here. Okay, share, because I want to take you and show you some of the resources. Okay, and so this is just where you would find it. You would go to the top of our website here, where it says buy courses and books. Go to course search, put in United Empire Loyalists, and then here's a description of the course. And then this is where you would purchase the course if you wanted to do that. Okay, but this is the website that I wanted to share with you tonight. And it is, the web address is www.royalprovincial.com. And I was wondering, is this was an older website, but I went down and I looked at the bottom because that's how you tell when it was last updated, and it was last updated yesterday. So yes, this is a current website, and Todd Brasted, he keeps adding information to here and checking the links. And so if there's a problem and you need to contact him, his information's right at the bottom here to contact him. But he has a lot of information about loyalists and loyalist regiments. And so it is a good resource. So on this website, it goes into what is a loyalist? Where will I find them? If you're not familiar with them, reading through here can give you a better idea. They were in the colonies, but they also included Black Loyalists, which are a group on their own, and the Indian Department, which the First Nations of they were in here as well, and where you find them. And so, start searching. But I want to draw your attention to the sidebar. And here is history. If you go to history, it's going to give you a general history of Loyalist history. And of course, it's different in every state or colony at that time. They didn't become states until the United States after the Revolution and after they were not under British rule anymore. And so each colony ran their own governments, and so you have to know where they came from. There's not just one place to go for records. And so he goes through and all his topics, but go over here. You would think that you can click on this, but actually you can't. It's over on the side. It is an older website, and so those titles are over here. So with the war chronology starting in 1775, and then you can click to the different years. And so if you know that your loyalist ancestor took part in a certain battle or was in a certain place that you've discovered in other documents, because when they came to Canada for sure, they had to state what their service was and what regiment they were associated with, and maybe even what battles they were in or where they were enlisted. And so that's going to give you clues to then come back here to see if they participated in certain battles. But this is a good timeline that when you're doing a timeline out for your ancestor, what battles they possibly could have been part of based on their regiment. And so this is gonna help you to do that. And each one of these you could click on. So let's just click
Cheryl,
on one.
I have a quick question.
Yeah,
Are these strictly listed as with the British slash Canadian designator, or do they use the what we would use in America?
these are from the British, but some of the records are in like Library of Congress. So
Well,
they
the reason, because like what you call the Battle of Freeman's Farm, we call the Battle of Saratoga.
okay. And that's
So so unless I knew that, how would
okay,
I guess
so
I
where
could Google it.
okay, where is it on? Is it on this page?
It's not here. No, no.
Okay.
I just know that because that's my family.
Okay,
Um,
so once you found out if they were in a battle, I would research it from both sides.
okay,
And
okay.
I do have, okay, I'm gonna skip way ahead then, or I'm gonna come back to it, okay?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna come back
yeah.
to your question. I do have a website, if you wanna quickly write it down, it's britishbattles.com. And you would scroll down. I have it as a tab here later on, to the American Revolution, and it gives the different battles. And yeah, maybe I'll go to it here because you're asking about it now. Here, okay. So this one is BritishBattles.com. You would scroll down until you came to American Revolution on the left side here, and that is the left, right?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm too far. So here is the section on, American Revolution.
There it is. I see it. Okay, I see it there. Yeah.
So, here's Saratoga. So if you knew your ancestor was in the Battle of Saratoga, you would click on it, and this will just give you information about the battle, who the commanders were, the size of the armies on both sides, how many fatalities or casualties they
Interesting.
had. And but going down, what I like about this is it goes down and it says what regiments were British regiments that were part of this battle. But then look right below it, there's the other loyalists, the German regiments and the loyalist regiments that were part of it.
Right. Okay.
And so
Cool.
but it also gives the American side because it's not impossible that you had ancestors on both sides.
Oh yeah.
And then it gives all of their regiments that were on the American side and their stats as well to, how they fared. And then at the end is a summary. What I like about this site is they give you a map. And
Wow.
so if you know where your ancestor, like which regiment, like if it was under Morgan or, Arnold was back here because he was part of that, Benedict Arnold. And you can see where they were in the battle, which is cool to me.
That is really cool. Thanks.
It's building the history. So it's not only finding records for your ancestor, and here's another one, it's not only finding records for your ancestor, but it's how did they fit in their participation into that historical event. And
Cool.
so finding, coming to um, websites like this, there it is, look, the Battle of Freeman's Farm. There you
See, I
go.
want to click on it. I want to click on it, but I can't.
So if I click on that, then it's going to give me more information about that one in particular specifically, and again, who was there, all the statistics, who just all the regiments, just all the facts. I love
Wow.
it.
Thank you.
I love it. It's a great, and see here, here's all the regiments, the 21st, the 60s, all of them, and you can use that in your family history then to say, what your ancestor did or participated in that battle. So that's one of the resources I had to share tonight, and we just had got it in sooner than later. But BritishBattles.com, and then go down to the American Revolutionary War, and you can click on each one of these to. Here's Freeman's Farm right here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, and then you can get more information. It won't have your ancestor's name, but it
Mhm.
will give you information about, perhaps where to look for their service.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay, so, back to this one. It is the, chronology. So, not all battles were major battles, some were just small. And, there's, more skirmishes, I guess you would call them, where, loyalist regiments, came up against the rebels, and, the loyalists tend to call them rebels and not patriots. And so, even the terminology. So the loyalist history is from the British perspective because
Mhm.
they supported the British. And, but you should research both sides of that battle to get an understanding of what was happening. And so this is really good if you knew it, the specific year that he was in. Then you can just click to it. See here, it's the West Jersey Volunteers, it's the Philadelphia Light Dragoons. These are all loyalist regiments, and you can kind of track through what they were doing, where they were, and what they took part in. Here's the New York Volunteers, the Bucks County Volunteers.
Okay,
Some were not organized regiments. Some of them were just groups that fought together and then were aligned with British troops. So that is
okay,
a
we're getting nothing else done today.
good resource. And then the next one is battles and campaigns. And again, it's going to give you some major ones to click on and research more. And Todd has written a lot of articles. And so these are probably articles that he's written about particular battles and events. And then Map and Gazetteer under that one. Um, there's only one there, but he's planning to fill more of this, but as all of us, we don't have time to do everything. But he is continuing to work on this. This is major figures. So if you had an officer or it was under a certain person, there's some biological sketches, there's letters from some of them. And It's just he's put in a few of these. Franklin to the Earl of Dartmouth in 1776. Key information that will help your understanding. This is theaters and actions. And so then there's some of those and music and poetry. But then you go to military, this one. And there's a lot of regiments. Here's a list of regiments, and this is the one main one that I wanted to share with you today is loyalist regiments, and it just gives a list of them alphabetically, and the years of service. Sometimes they were integrated into other companies as their numbers dwindled. Then they would join together. Butler's Rangers are the ones that settled in Niagara and in the area that I am. So a lot of our loyalists here were from the Butler's Rangers, and just go through. And so not all of them have links, but he's working on information for all of them. And then this is regimental histories, and that's alphabetically that you can go in individually and click on it and find out about that regiment. Like here's Butler's Rangers. So if I go there, It's going to give a list of some of the key dates and the battles they were involved with, and a list of loyalists receiving rations in 1783. So that would be, and there he's got a transcript of it that he's taken from other records. And so again, this is derivative sources. So you would want to then follow up his reference here that it was in Great Britain, in the British Library, in the manuscripts, and there's the number. And so it may be on, not everything is on the National Archives in London, but some is on Canadiana, some is published. You'd have to track down, but at least you would know that there is a list, and then try and track down where you found it if your ancestor's name was on here. He also has a section on muster rolls, and as he finds them, he puts them in here and has a list to look for. So here's Butler's Ranges again. So if I went there, yeah, it's going to go back to there because it has muster lists on there. Okay, and then, sorry, the muster rolls, orderly books, some of those, and he has links. So this is really a place to go and look and see if you can find. Here's one on spies. And I was looking at this one. Spies don't necessarily show up in the regiment list, but they definitely were very important to the spies. And as I look down, there's quite a few here. And sadly, I went to the very bottom. It's the beheading of a Negro spy, Harry. I thought, oh dear, what happened to Harry? And yeah, he was captured, and yeah, he was beheaded and his head set on a stake. And when they passed by the Greenland swamp. And so it's just giving information about different things that had happened. And so it's really worth looking through here, seeing if you can find something that's going to relate to your ancestor. Black loyalists, uh, they settled all over, but a lot of them went to Birchtown in Nova Scotia, where they have a museum, and they're trying to gather all the stories of Black loyalists. And some of those, if you know the story, if you've watched Book of Negroes, all of their names were put in that book to make sure that they could be evacuated and get land. They got land as well. And but it didn't take long before they weren't treated as equals anymore. And so the British arranged to send them to Sierra Leone in Africa. And so, yeah, their story is an amazing story to see how they were. The British really looked out for them more so than the Americans and the blacks that fought for the Americans. And I say that because I don't really know. I shouldn't say that. The British with the Book of Negroes were trying hard to make sure everyone who had fought for them, that they protected them and got them out. Okay, so and then genealogy here and reenactors. There's a lot of reenactment groups. I'm going to go there first. In the reenactment groups, I have found helpful to me for my soldiers because it shows them in uniform as close as they can. And it just really gives you a flavor for what the circumstances were when they were fighting. And they have Facebook groups, they have websites, they have reenactment events that you can go to and just see they reenact the battles, and watch for that in the States because with 1775 and 1776, the anniversaries, 250-year anniversaries, there's a lot of preparation going into their anniversary celebrations this year and next year. So watch for those in the areas where they are. And genealogy, then it goes here, and This is a link to New Brunswick. The Public Archives of New Brunswick has excellent Loyalist records there. The Nova Scotia Archives holds a lot of land petitions. Upper Canada and Lower Canada land petitions are in Library and Archives Canada. War muster rolls. There's a lot on Canadiana. So it's really tracking down where the records are after you establish what regiment they're in. Then you can start to figure out where all the records are. But this could give you clues to help you to find that. Now, the next one that I wanted to share with you, and our time is going to just fly by. Okay, so this is it's the United Empire Loyalist Association of Canada, which is uelac.ca. And what I wanted to show you this for was the directory. You can search alphabetically for your ancestor. Susan said Lundy. So let's just see what Lundy brings us. So if I search for Lundy, and I go down here, go to page 2, and I don't see Lundy. Aha, you're going to have to search into this. Okay, you're going to have a bigger search. Now, this directory is not all the soldiers who could be loyalists. This is the directory of people who have submitted an application in the Lineage Society to prove their lineage back to their soldier. So there could be a lot of people not in here, and then you would have to present information, documentation to their service and what regiment and back it up with original documents, and then trace your lineage down to yourself with, I think, 2 or 3 documents like a birth, a marriage, and linking those generations to get your certificate. Another one that I like to look at is this one. And this is the DAR, which is for the Patriots. But sometimes you might find them in here. I was surprised to find my loyalist in the Patriots, and it's because he had shown up for a militia. When they called out the militia for his town, you had to go or you got fined or possibly put in jail. So he did show up for the militia, and then he fled right after that to the British side because then he couldn't join up. He couldn't swear to join up because he didn't believe in it and he wanted to be with the British. So he fled after that. But look up your ancestor in here and his siblings. Siblings are in here. If you're going to continue, look at both the directory of the Loyalists, but also the directory for the Patriots, because you could find other family members. The father of my Loyalists, the wife, her father's in here, her brother's in here. And so don't just look at the Loyalist directory, look at the DAR directory as well to find your ancestors. Okay, any questions? Okay, one more thing that I was going to show you on the UELAC site is the branches. And these are all the branches. So even though the Loyalists mainly came here to this area, there are branches because their descendants moved. And so there are branches across Canada for the United Empire Loyalists Association of Canada. Now, if your loyalists went to England, then they're not going to be in here. You're going to have to look at the archives in England in order to find out when they made a claim for compensation for their losses. Some went to the Caribbean. Some went to Florida. I watched a webinar on by a Florida Genealogy Society about the Loyalists who were there and who settled in Florida, which I was surprised, but they went all over, and so you never know where you're going to find them. Okay, so I am going to switch back to my presentation here and just say that, and there's the website again, theroyalprovincial.com, and that our next Loyalist virtual meeting will be November the 15th because it's every 3 months. And this slide is just our links for the Institute. So our websites, where to go for courses, the store if you're going to buy printed material, our blog, go and check out our blog of news. We have a Facebook group. We're on Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and YouTube. Some of our virtual meetings are on YouTube. If you are watching this recording on YouTube, welcome and check out our other ones and give us a like and subscribe to our channel and see what virtual meetings we're adding to our channel. And don't forget about Genealogy Social. It used to be Genealogy Wise. It's our social network for the Institute. And check out the groups there are Loyalist groups on Genealogy Social, and there are blogs there as well. So thank you for joining us today, and we hope that we've given you some resources to go and look. Our purpose is to supplement the course that we have and to help you to find information about your ancestor so that you can complete that research for them. And check out the BritishBattles.com and build a timeline for your ancestor to the best ability that you have of where he was and when he enlisted, what battles he was part of, or she, because there are a few loyalists, female loyalists as well, that are UE, and document this part of history and their lives and what they went through during the American Revolution and after, when they settled, particularly in Canada or wherever they settled. Good luck in finding all of those records. And so thank you. This has been presented by the International Institute of Genealogical Studies at genealogicalstudies.com.